gold home jerseys, Santa Barbara in the blue road jerseys. These two teams meeting once already this season, with Irvine coming out on top. As you take a look at the UC Santa Barbara lineup, Max Kupchak, the freshman forward, gets the start tonight, son of Lakers general manager Mitch Kupchak. And keep an eye out on Michael Bryson, averaging 19 points per game this year. And for the Anteaters, the big lineup of Best at 6'10" and Endai at 7'6" down low. And they also have Giannis Demakopoulos coming off the bench at 7'2", a strong front court for Irvine.
Very strong and a lot of depth. They have guys that come off the bench that can replace the two starters. This is a team with a lot of balance, particularly strengths in the post and in the perimeter.
Good student section on hand for this one. Eric Rothman and Richie Schuler with you. Again, homecoming here in Irvine, and a quick release on the first possession by Alex Young, the senior guard, rebounded on the offensive glass.
That's what they do. They get a lot of offensive rebounds and kick it out for second chance opportunities.
Sam Beeler inside, disrupting the driving Luke Nelson into Santa Barbara's first possession.
You see UC Irvine likes to play a zone defense with all that size inside. That length makes it really difficult. You have to score over the top of them.
Here's Vincent with the floater, the sophomore guard out of Stockton, California.
I tell you, he was Big West Conference Freshman of the Year last year and really made a living behind the arc. But you can see he's very versatile, can score in different ways.
And he's looking to rebound against Irvine as well. The last time these two teams met, he went 4 for 11 from long range, not very good. And Endai is fouled on the interior, our first whistle of the game.
You see Mamadou Njai there, likes to have his back to the basket. He loves to use that slide dribble move. He'll dribble a couple of times with his outside hand into the paint and loves to use the spin move on his way to the basket.
Foul on Beeler, the 6'10" center for Santa Barbara. He'll be working down low against Njai all night. Alex Young, the runner. Njai, another offensive rebound, but has it stripped. Here's Bryson in the near corner, and fighting for the rebound is Mike Best. And Richie, in shoot-around today, Irvine head coach Russell Turner was really talking about trying to work Santa Barbara off their three-point shot.
Well, they're a 35% three-point shooting team. That's above average. They do a really good job getting three-point shots off. And when you're playing zone defense like Irvine does a lot of the time, it becomes a three-point contest often.
Mamadou Njai, a nice spin move on the interior for his first bucket. He's averaging 12.7 boards.
As you see UC Irvine in that 2-3 zone. So a lot of temptations from the Santa Barbara players to chuck up three-pointers. Very difficult going up inside those post players of UC Irvine.
Gabe Vincent, a body foul as he drove in. Foul on Alex Young. First personal, first team foul on Irvine. And Richie, a former coach, how do you game plan against a guy who's 7'6" like Njai down there?
Well, it's difficult. You have to pick and choose the opportunities to score. Here's one right here, and you see, you draw the attention and then you dump it down to a teammate. Beeler could have made that layup.
Good look for Beeler. Another rebound for Njai, his third, as Young pulls up from the right elbow.
Alex Young, so good, can score in almost every way. Will hit that open three-point shot, but that stop and pop mid-range jumper is something that he's become really consistent at in his 4 years in an Anteaters uniform.
And he gives the Anteaters a 4-2 lead. Touch shot inside, not there for Bryson, but Beeler on the offensive glass.
Well, you see there, Mamadou Njai had to go and try to block the shot, and that left an open gap underneath the basket. So there they have an opportunity for an offensive rebound and putback.
Best swinging it around to Young, 12th player in Big West history to have 500-plus assists in his career is Alex Young. It's a foul off the ball. We'll stay with Irvine.
Well, you see what Irvine was doing there. They had an open Njai with his back to the basket. They didn't pass it to him. Instead, they reversed the ball, swung it from one side of the floor to the other. They say if you can swing the ball 2 or 3 times across the floor, you're going to score 2/3 of the time by loosening up the defense.
Nelson missing a shot in front of the cup. Here comes Gabe Vincent for Santa Barbara. Vincent at the free throw line. Gets a friendly rattle.
And there's two spots you want to pass the ball if you're Santa Barbara against the zone. Hit the elbow like they did, or hit one of the short corners. Sometimes you can hit the elbow and go high-low into the short corner, and that's how you can break down a defense.
Vincent, 4 quick points to give UCSB the lead. Njai muscling his way inside for the slam.
Hey, Mama do what Mama does. Slide, dribble, spin, slam dunk.
Ties it up at 6 as Njai now with 4 points, 3 rebounds. Standing atop the three-point line is Vincent, missing that jumper.
It's an excellent shooter, but with 10 seconds on the shot clock, could probably get something a little bit better.
Njai the dump off from Young. Taking his time, and a block on Beeler. His heels might have been in that restricted area, but Beeler's going to pick up his second personal foul in just 5 minutes of play here.
Gonna have to take a look at that. I thought it was a good, strong move by Mamadou Njai. I'm not sure if he lowered his
homecoming. 6-6 in the early goings. Coach Turner looking for his 4th straight 20-plus win season, has his team at 17-5. That man, Mamadou Njai, already with 4 points, 3 rebounds, and Richie Irvine already a concerted effort to give him at least 1 touch per possession.
That's what they try to do. Get the ball inside and see if you can possibly get the opposing team in foul trouble. That certainly opens it up and gives up opportunities for guys like this. Demakopoulos in the game.
And he's in there for Njai, but it's the same result.
Well, how about that? You have a 7'6" center that goes on the bench, and you bring in a 7'2" guy.
And Giannis is coming off a great defensive game against Northridge where he had 6 blocks in that one. As a step-back three-pointer by Michael Bryson.
I tell you, man, he does some things where I think he has some NBA scouts looking at him thinking, man, he has a chance. And I think he's certainly a guy that could compete in the D-League, no question about that.
And nice finish by Luke Nelson, the guard out of England, with 19 points today. If he could get there, that would be 1,000 for his career. 981 to start the game.
Not bad for a junior. All conference last year and preseason, all league team this season.
Kupchak inside the zone, back out to Bryson. And a good rebound by Demakopoulos.
Look at the way Irvine pushes the ball up the floor. A little bit harder to do that when they have Njai in the game.
Nelson, 5 points in a row. He's charging for that 1,000.
And that's the sign of a good college basketball player, a guy that can not just hit a set three-pointer, but can come off a screen, one dribble, and knock it down with ease.
And a turnover on UCSB as they're getting frustrated by that 2-3 zone. And it was funny, Richie, we were talking to Luke Nelson before the game, and I said, Luke, you need 19. He said, 19 for what? I said, 1,000 points. He said, I had no idea.
You know, that's good. That means he's a team player. He's not worried about scoring points. Now, he has to score points in order for Irvine to win some basketball games, but he's not worried about it. Not a selfish basketball player at all.
And Irvine has got on track now, up by 4. They were 0 for their first 4 field goal attempts, now 6 for their last 8. As that one missed by Brandon Smith.
3 offensive rebounds already for UC Irvine.
Aaron Wright, a nice floater in the lane. And at practice today, Richie, Aaron Wright at 6'3" was dunking the basketball. And every time he did, you heard his teammates go, whoa, I didn't know you could do that.
Like, where did it come from, right?
6'3" is small when you got 7'6" and 7'2" on your team.
That's true. That's like a munchkin.
15-9 Irvine, and a floater inside for UCSB.
Santa Barbara has a trio of some really good players. Gabe Vincent just hit that short jumper there. We saw Michael Bryson, number 24, hit the three-pointer a moment ago. And then you have John Green, number 31, who's had an injury-riddled career, but had a really strong season last year.
Demakopoulos, and it's the 7-footers getting it done. Demakopoulos now with 4 to match Njai, who's on the bench with 4. So those two combining for 8 of Irvine's 17 points. But no defense on the other end as Mitch Brew, the senior from Seattle, Washington, the mid-range jumper.
Well, you want to know how you can score against big fellas in the zone. Those little short jumpers will get you somewhere, but A lot of times against the zone, and we'll see it here as Santa Barbara's transitioned into a 2-3. A lot of times if you have a big man inside and you attack his chest, sometimes he'll back up enough for you to score. Other times you can draw a foul.
Only starter remaining in the game right now for Irvine is Nelson. He has it with 6 seconds. A dump off inside, but Galloway unable to handle it. A turnover on Irvine.
Well, you see Irvine trying to push the ball. That's what they need to do. You push the ball for the unexpected, get up the floor, and don't allow them to get into a 2-3 zone.
If you're UCSB, how important is it for you to get in transition and not allow the big front court of UC Irvine to get set in that half-court defense?
Well, UC Irvine's one of the best defensive teams in the country. They ranked 7th in the nation in field goal percentage defense. 37.5% is all they allow. So if you can get fast break points and not play them in the half court, you're at an advantage.
Njai back into the game. After a brief 2.5 minutes on the bench. TJ Taylor is in the game for UCSB. He just inbounded the basketball. He's gone 6 straight games without recording a field goal. He would love to change that here off the bench for Coach Bob Williams.
See all that size, 6'10" and 7'6" around you inside.
Vincent got his own board, didn't hit any rim, so 12 on the shot clock. Vincent in the near corner. Nearly an offensive goaltending, but it's Irvine basketball.
That's good transition defense by Santa Barbara. Had all 5 guys waiting.
Jaron Martin can't find the 3. And the ball's going to stay with Irvine. And a time. Njai back into the game. He sat for about 2.5 minutes at the 16-minute mark. And he's already getting some pressure down low from Mitch Brew, who's undersized at 6'8". And he's having to push up against Njai just to gain position. Mamadou, baby hook. And a foul going against Njai.
Well, that's just unfortunate. At 7'6", it's almost impossible not to have an over-the-back type of call. That's unfortunate for UC Irvine. It's really good for UC Santa Barbara because when Njai is out of the game, if the time comes when he's in foul trouble, it makes a world of difference for the opposing offenses. They had a really hard time calling him, officiating him in his freshman year. I think it's gotten a lot better in 2 years of him playing college basketball.
John Green, the senior, who you mentioned earlier, Richie, has just dealt with a myriad of injuries the past 3 years. Only had 1 full healthy season under his belt, and he's a senior. As he misses the 3-pointer for UCSB. It's just nice to see him on the floor, frankly.
Yeah, you have to feel bad for a guy who came in with lots of potential and has all those injuries.
Njai knocked around, and so was the ball. Turnover on Irvine. Here's Green floating it over the 7'6" Njai.
You talk about his injuries. Before last season, he had only played in 4 games in the previous 3 years. 3 foot injuries, he had a wrist injury. He was out 6 games with another knee injury this season. You feel for the kid, 6'5", 180 pounds, and an incredible athlete.
But he is coming off a 16-point performance in Santa Barbara's overtime loss this week to Long Beach. And another turnover on the Anteaters, and you see the UCSB bench getting a little hyped. Their defense starting to frustrate the interior of Irvine.
Well, then you're going to see UC Irvine flip the switch a little bit and go 2-2-1. And what that does, especially with the new shot clock being 5 seconds shorter, it just takes time off the shot clock. You're not looking to get steals off a 2-2-1 press. Just trying to wear out the clock a little bit and then drop back into your zone. It could be really frustrating for a team that likes to run and gun.
Green blocked by Njai. Will stay with UCSB. Njai 15th in the nation with 52 blocks this season, make it 53.
And he gets a lot of his blocks on help side rotations. On that time, it was just one-on-one. And you can see why he's 5th all-time in the Big West Conference in career blocks. Only a junior and missed half the season last year.
Bryson tried to bank in that 3-pointer as the shot clock was expiring. 9.5 minutes to play here in the first half. Irvine up by 2. Eric Rothman, Richie Schuler here with you. finishing off a full day of college basketball on ESPNU. Good defense by Mitch Brew to get in front of Njai. But UCSB turns it right back over. Euro step by Young and an offensive foul.
It's getting sloppy. Sloppy play on both ends of the basketball. 2 consecutive turnovers. You saw the Euro step and a bit out of control. That's a player control foul. It's almost like UC Irvine starting to really force the ball in the post a little bit too much. You know, the game plan early, you can tell, was get the ball inside, let's feed the beasts that we have. And they've done that with Mamadou Njai, with Dimakopoulos, with Mike Best. But they haven't really utilized their outside game. They're a strong three-point shooting team. They've only taken 2 so far in this game.
And Alex Young, their leader in assists, picks up his 2nd foul. Each team with 3 turnovers. Those 3 turnovers by Irvine coming in the last 2 minutes. Here's Green, not afraid to shoot. A fight for the rebound, and somehow Bryson got in there. Ball is loose on the second chance miss. And finally a whistle to stop things. It looks like a held ball. Some extracurricular after the whistle. Still no signal from the officials.
Well, look at Coach Russell Turner coming onto the floor. He's upset.
He is all the way on the floor.
Let's get regrouped, let's get refocused and move forward. I'm pretty sure that's the message he's given.
So you're right, Richie. The call was a held ball, so possession arrow to UCSB, and then it was Coach Turner calling the timeout for the Anteaters.
See, that's where you want it right there. The short corner, high post area.
Bryson forced to reset. Green misses the floater. Offensive board for Alex Hart. And a long 3 for TJ Taylor, his first field goal in 6 games.
And that's the best shot in basketball. Off an offensive rebound, a kick out for a three-pointer. The defense is trying to recover. They're not there to close out or contest the shot, and you usually get a wide open look.
Njai can't handle the pass. TJ Taylor, what a way to break a 6-game field goal-less streak. Giving UCSB a 1-point lead. That's got to feel good.
UC Irvine's on a cold streak. Santa Barbara, got to give them credit. Offensively, starting to pick it up, starting to figure out how to break down this zone. And they're on a 9-2 run.
Bryson airmailing the 3 right into the hands of Mike Best.
See if this Santa Barbara defense can continue. Sometimes when you play a zone, just like the other team is used to playing, that can mess you up psychologically, and you wonder if Irvine's struggling against the zone because of it.
And another turnover on UC Irvine. That's the 5th on the Anteaters. And Njai, after starting hot, 4 points, 3 rebounds, UCSB has reclaimed a 1-point lead. Eric Rothman and Richie Schuler here with you at the Brand Event Center. And Richie, what has UCSB changed here in the last few minutes to frustrate Irvine and force so many turnovers?
Well, they started playing some zone, and I think that really stymied Irvine. I think it made it difficult for them. When you look on the offensive end for UC Irvine, though, of their 17 points, 10 of them have been inside the paint. They've only utilized 2 3-pointers in the whole game.
Alex Hart, the alley-oop lay-in. The sophomore from British Columbia extending the UCSB lead.
Really good ball movement. Swinging that ball from side to side.
Dunning lost it, ball on the floor, and a held ball, possession arrow in favor of Irvine. But there you see again, Richie, nearly another turnover, and it seems like every time the Anteaters trying to go inside where they were so successful, as you just mentioned earlier on in the game, is now turning into turnovers.
And I think that's a great move by Coach Bob Williams of Santa Barbara. Man-to-man, you're having a difficult time containing the bigs because, I mean, let's face it, Irvine has 3 bigs that have been pretty good in this game, and they're pretty good all season long. So instead of playing 1-on-1, now it's 1-on-5. At least those 3 down inside, and some of the perimeter players getting a hand down in there too to make it difficult. Hard to post up on an area instead of a man.
And Luke Nelson rattling out the three, and a loose ball foul going up against Mamadou Njai.
And that's going to be his second foul of the half. Instead of risking another foul in the third, put in your backup, Dimakopoulos.
And so Njai has to take a seat. And again, starting out hot, 4 points, 3 rebounds for Njai, and has been held scoreless since. Good ball movement by the Gauchos. 8 on the shot clock for Childress, and it spins 360 before rolling in.
Wow. 51% three-point shooter.
And he was 4 for 4 from long distance the last time these two teams met.
It has been a long time since Irvine scored a point. They've been stuck on 17 for a bit of time. It's a 16-2 run for Santa Barbara.
Galloway on the offensive glass, lost it. A scrum on the floor, and it looks like another held ball. That's our third here in the past few minutes. Possession arrow back to the Gauchos.
And that's great for the Gauchos. Santa Barbara on quite a run, and now they're going to get the ball back after a hustle play. And that's what you love to see with basketball players, is winning those 50-50 battles. And on that play, you probably had 4, 5, 6 guys on the floor trying to get that basketball. Obviously, they care, and the home crowd team here certainly wants to see their team giving everything they have.
And you mentioned runs, Richie. UCSB looking for revenge of the runs, because in the last game between these two, Irvine finished on a 17-0 run in the final 10 minutes and 50 seconds of the second half to come from behind to win that game. It was 52-50, and it finished 67-52 in favor of Irvine. Not a stat you hear too often.
Yeah, that's a scoring drought I haven't heard of. Not to score in the last 11 minutes.
And getting close to that with Irvine here in the first half. A 16-2 run by the Gauchos, 23-17. As you see, Mitch Brew taking a seat for UCSB. And checking into the game is Ami Lakaju.
Now with Galloway in the game, for Irvine, number 5, that's going to allow some more quickness, some more athleticism. And when you're going up against a zone defense, when that shot goes up, you have a higher chance of getting an offensive rebound. Having Galloway in there gives you a better chance of getting an offensive board.
Nelson penetrating for his 7th point, and finally a bucket for the Anteaters.
Well, I bet you didn't expect to see both teams run a 2-3 zone, did you?
Did not. Hey, nice step back jumper by Eric Childress. 5 straight for him.
And I like that jumper because you try to get into that gut of the zone. If you can beat the perimeter players and you can get just in front of the big fellas, you can get that little 15, 16-foot shot.
Dimakopoulos tried to go off the glass. Galloway blocked on the inside by Vincent. UCSB basketball.
We talked about it just a moment ago. Galloway gets the offensive rebound. Here's the missed shot by Dimakopoulos, and Galloway, he's so physically powerful for a freshman, but he couldn't split the defense there to go up, and Gaucho basketball.
And we've talked about some pretty incredible stats already, Richie, but how about this? We're over 15 minutes into this game. We haven't seen a free throw.
That is an incredible stat. That caught me by surprise.
A producer's dream. 25-19 UCSB on top by 6. A turnover by the Gauchos. Here comes Nelson. Good Euro step. He knows how to do that. He's from
Here
the UK.
it is. Boom. Euro step. I like that play.
I think you're just born with that ability when you're from Worthing, England.
You come out of the womb with the Euro step.
Nelson's been really the only bright spot here in the last 5 minutes for the Anteaters.
A couple of baskets in the last 3 possessions for Irvine. Gets him right back in it. Santa Barbara, though, they've really weathered that storm in the beginning. They've started to take over.
Green blocked by Dimakopoulos, and here comes Nelson again. Tried Euro step, and it works. Back-to-back, no basket, an offensive foul on Nelson.
Oh, he's not happy. Coach Turner's not happy. The 5,000 fans in the stands are not happy. Talk about some emotion. Now, I'm going to have to agree with the official on that because it looked like Childress is stopped. Now, I don't know. That left foot may have moved a little bit, but the official saw.
Eric Rothman, Richie Schuler back here with you. 3:23 to play in the first half. UCSB on the road against Irvine, up 25-21. The Anteaters, 17-5 overall this season, 8-0 here at home, trailing late in the first half. And Richie, it was a 16-2 run by UCSB that's really propelled them to this 4-point lead.
UC Irvine was stuck on 17 points for over 8 minutes of play. That's a scoring drought. And of the 21 points that they have, only 7 have been outside the paint. Getting a lot of points inside, but struggling outside of that.
Brew lost it going up. It goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Gauchos.
You wonder what UC Irvine's going to do differently to score against this zone, because those baskets they had really came in transition. So they're having a hard time against this half-court defense of Santa Barbara.
Dimakopoulos may have gotten away with a bit of a travel there in the lane, but gets it off the glass.
About that Abdul-Jabbar sky hook he had, though, even off the glass.
Mid-range jumper by Brew, rebounded by Mike Best. And now Irvine trying to put together a run of their own to close out the first half.
Well, look at the way they're catching it and passing it. Turnover, unfortunately, but man, they really reversed the ball, drove it, kicked it out to teammates.
And it seems like, at least here late in the first half, with the way Nelson's played, you saw Jaron Martin there getting an open passing lane even though he threw it away. It seems like the first half of the first half was UC Irvine trying to get it on the interior. Now that UCSB has dropped into that zone, they're relying more on their guards.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with Mamadou coming out of the game too. The big fella in foul trouble, they're really trying to feed him inside. And but, you know, I think they've realized we've got to score in some other places. Against the man, they did a really good job of scoring in the paint. Against the zone, they've struggled to score, period. So catching and driving and penetrating the gaps can really do you some good.
Gabe Vincent from way downtown, and Dimakopoulos fighting for the one-handed rebound.
I just think Santa Barbara can get a better shot than that.
Nelson on transition. Quick possession by the Anteaters. Here's Green. And after 18 minutes and 10 seconds of play, we will finally have our first free throw.
Well, here it is, Green taking it strong against Dimakopoulos. And that might not have been on the swat. That might have been with the body when Green initially went up into him. That's what I'm talking about. Against big guys that are really a lot bigger than you. Dimakopoulos is 7'2", John Green 6'5". Go into their chest. If their hands aren't straight up in the air, you can draw a foul a lot of times.
Dimakopoulos charged with the personal. John Green, a 66% free throw shooter on the year. And Richie, we talked about it ad nauseum, but John Green with that injury, missing nearly 3 years of his college career. And his issue right now is not playing time, because finally he's healthy and he's getting it. It's just getting his conditioning and getting his legs under him.
Yeah, and it really hurts his consistency. I remember last year when he played that full season after sitting out for so long, he was a little up and down consistently, but he's the X factor for this team. If he can get it rolling, they have that big three, so to speak, and they do a really good job. They can win a lot of games if they get all 3 guys on board.
Martin got his own rebound and a reset for Irvine. 26-23, UCSB on top.
And here they are feeding it inside again.
And look at that, Brandon Smith muscling it up off the glass.
I like him. He's a freshman. Comes from Santa Ana, California. Only averages 2.5 points per game. But he's that 6'5" wing that they don't have in any other position. Athletic, can take it to the basket. I like that player.
And Mitch Brew, an and one opportunity for UCSB. And after 18 minutes of no free throws, we've gone to the line twice now in a row for the Gauchos.
Well, it's a good play by Green. Brew right there underneath it, ready to catch and score. And you can see how, don't you see how the confidence just raises for the Gauchos when big Mamadou Njai is not in the game? You don't have that shot swatter inside to take care of everything. I mean, they just take it up. They're not afraid. to try to score around the basket.
Under a minute to play here in the first half. UCSB leading by 3. Here's Smith tiptoeing the baseline, and he stepped out.
And that's Santa Barbara using that baseline as an extra defender. Santa Barbara has really done a good job of turning the tides in this game from the first part of this first half until now. Titles, has played in 6 postseasons, won a national championship when UC Davis was Division II. Clearly, the man can coach. There's no doubt about that.
And he's closing in on 300 career wins. Good job by UCSB to break the press. Under 30 seconds to play now in the first half.
Santa Barbara's going to try to take as much time off this clock as they can.
Offensive rebound by Brew. Couldn't finish. Off the fingertips of Brew and out of bounds. Last touched by the Gauchos.
Now a little bit of offense-defense here. Coach Turner putting in both Alex Young and Luke Nelson, and with an opportunity to tie it going into the locker room. Santa Barbara's going to push up a little bit defensively, not allow them to walk the ball up the floor. Try to take as much time off that clock and give them the least opportunity to score as possible.
Great defense by Childress. 6 seconds to play. Bryson for 3. UCSB as time expires here in the first half, taking a 6-point lead into the break.
Wow, that's a dagger. Coach Williams
are with you as we take a look at the Big West Conference standings. And Richie, that undefeated conference winning streak for UC Irvine in jeopardy here tonight due to the fact that they had 12 turnovers in the first half. That's what they averaged for an entire game throughout the entire season.
I know, I hear what you're saying. That makes it very difficult to win a basketball game if you continue turning the basketball over. But UC Irvine needs the big man here, Mamadou Njai, back in action.
Njai held without a field goal for nearly 16 and a half minutes to close out the first half. He's got 4 points and 4 rebounds as we start the second half. Irvine the basketball. Mike Best missing the elbow jumper and the offensive rebound and a putback for Njai.
All 3 baskets for Njai have been around the rim, 2 earth-shattering slam dunks, and then that play right there.
Bryson, first field goal attempt for him out of the break, and Bryson finished with 6 points for UCSB in that first half.
Santa Barbara has come back out in this 2-3 zone. They played it most of the first half, or at least the last half of the first half. They did a really good job stopping Irvine from scoring the basketball with it.
A turnover on UCSB after Mike Best for Irvine got his own rebound and a putback and brings the Anteaters within 2. And Richie, UC Irvine would love to flip the script in the turnover department just like that.
They're going to have to force some turnovers. I'll tell you this, when they had their streak of over 8 minutes without scoring, they got back on track by making their defense their offense. A couple steals, loose balls, boom, other way, 2 points.
And that time a turnover leading to a 3-pointer for Dominique Dunning, the senior guard out of Corona. And on the inside, Eric Childress making quick work of that one.
If there's any weakness that Mamadou Njai has in the defensive end, the big fella, it's getting down the floor. Transition defense for Irvine is never strong, at least as strong as it is without him in the game than with him in the game. Now, he's really good in the half court, but you can beat him down the floor, and you might have the advantage to score.
And a whistle after the missed shot by Mike Best going up against Max Kupchak for UCSB. Picking up his second personal foul, and that will send Best to the free throw line.
Irvine has responded. This is only the 3rd time in 7 Big West Conference games that they've trailed at halftime. And the 2 others, they came back to win. Long Beach State and at UC at Santa Barbara.
Fans here at Irvine hoping to hang on to an undefeated conference record until they head to Hawaii on February 11th as the top two teams in the Big West Conference will do battle on the island. As Best hits the field free throws, and gives Irvine a 1-point advantage.
Santa Barbara so good taking care of the basketball in the first half. Only four turnovers to their 8 assists. So that's 2-1. I think the key to them is to keep reversing the ball, moving it. Don't be afraid to attack inside and take advantage of those open looks. Really hesitant to go up with Njai in the middle.
5 on the shot clock for Kupchak. And a long 3 by Childress as the shot clock was expiring, and an offensive rebound by Gabe Vincent.
They've had 7 of those now. You wouldn't think with the inside presence that Irvine has they could get that many offensive boards. But look at the big fella, Njai, inside. He's talking it up. Post players are big men. They have to have big voices as they see the whole floor on defense.
Air ball by Childress. Went right into the hands of his teammate Sam Beeler, who was then fouled. And that's going to be on Njai. It's his 3rd personal.
Coach Russell Turner's going to have to take him out right away. You can tell Santa Barbara does not feel comfortable around the basket with him in. Now, with Demakopoulos coming into the game, they tend to attack him more. Although he had a career-high 6 blocks the other night against CSUN.
And he had a very nice first half, 6 points, 2 rebounds off the bench. Mitch Kupchak left alone, and who knew? Excuse me, Max Kupchak. I got him confused with his father. Max throwing down the dunk.
Well, case in point right there. Njai comes out. What happens? Kupchak with the slam inside.
Wonder if Mitch could ever dunk like that.
We're going to have to find out.
Max the rebound. Max 6'7", the freshman, getting the start here for UCSB.
Santa Barbara's doing a good job of hitting those short corners and elbows, not capitalizing on these shots. I'd like to see them maybe penetrate the gaps a little bit more against the 2-3 as well.
Long 3-point attempt by Alex Young, the senior guard out of Phoenix. 5th in the NCAA in assist turnover ratio, but showing tonight he can get it done point scoring as well. Five points now for Young to give Irvine a 2-point advantage. Childress looking to answer on the other end. Young was popped in the face as the ball popped out of bounds. Basketball to UCSB.
I think the fans wanted a call there. I think it's a good no call. It was just everybody going for the loose ball, out of bounds Santa Barbara.
And I think it was the ball that might have hit Alex Young in the face rather than the defender's hand.
Get a closer look here. I think that was a little bit of an Academy Award job by Alex Young.
Well, it's coming up. End of February. He's got a chance still to get nominated. Already 5 lead changes here in the second half.
Good play.
Kupchak at the rim is fouled.
The whole bench for Santa Barbara up and clapping. That's good basketball. Attack the gaps, get in there, dump it down when you draw the defense. The big men have to expect him to be a guy that can really get it done in the NBA.
15:45 to go in the second half. Max Kupchak missing the free throw for UCSB. 5 lead changes in the second half already between these two teams, as Irvine has righted the ship a little bit, Richie, but still without Mamadou Njai, who's on the bench with 3 fouls.
Well, he's the defensive impact, and if he's not in foul trouble, I'm not sure that Santa Barbara has climbed this close into the game. He's that dominant. Not so much dominant on the offensive end, he's dominant on the defensive end. Irvine is a team that builds their program around defense. They strive for low field goal percentage, low scoring defense, and they certainly block a lot of shots.
Alex Young, his second 3-pointer of the half. UC Irvine back up by 4, and Young now with 8 points. Good ball fake by Childress, and Galloway the rebound. Young Thought he was going to go heat check on that left wing, Richie.
You know, he's only shooting 26% from the 3 on the season, but has the 2 tonight.
Looking for an assist down low. Demakopoulos can't finish. Ball will stay with Irvine.
You talk about Alex Young. I mean, he was coming into the game 9 assists away from being top 10 all time in the Big West Conference. Now, today he's had 1 assist, but he's found other ways to help his team score. He scored over 1,100 points in his career, and he's hit those 2 3-pointers. The team captain has done a really good job for this Irvine squad.
Nelson missing the jumper off the rebound. And Beeler goes down hard as Wright fell into his knee. And glad to see both Beeler and Wright off the deck.
Santa Barbara, a little bit of a cold streak right now, but I like what I see them doing on the offensive end. They're moving the ball. They're hitting right around that free throw line area to try to attack. But one thing that they're starting to utilize more is the ball fake. And if you want to really get a defense moving and shifting, a 1 pass fake can get 2, 3 guys to shift and move. A shot fake can get a player off the ground. It's all about attacking the gaps.
Good feed inside to Green. Blocked by Demakopoulos. Green loses it. And a whistle underneath, I believe, is going to be a foul on Alex Young.
It's really important that Irvine keeps their poise here. Let's see if number 1 gets the foul here. Loose ball, and the official is saying that he pushed him. It looked like he slapped for the basketball. But you see Coach Turner's upset. The crowd is moaning. They have to keep their poise because at the end of the first half, they started to lose it a little bit, and they lost their lead.
And so now both Njai and Young on the bench for Irvine with 3 fouls.
Good
opportunity for UCSB, and Childress takes advantage.
That's a good basketball play. Saw it move from Vincent to Bryson to an open Childress in the corner. Sometimes it's not the extra pass. Sometimes it's the pass after the extra pass.
On the other end, Wright trying to answer. Green the rebound.
Oh, Beeler begging for the ball inside.
And he gets it. And an offensive foul as Beeler was backing in on Demakopoulos and got called for the foul.
It's really important when you're posting up that you don't move the defender. You can't dislodge him from his position. He has a right to that position. So if you use your lower body or you use your midsection to push him back, that can be an offensive foul if you're trying to get position.
Irvine hanging on to a 1-point lead. UCSB back in that zone. Good strip by Green. Gauchos on the run. Childress the lay-in.
I like that. Again, defense becoming your offense. It's a 3-on-1 on the other end of the floor. I'll tell you, these 2 teams are really battling, aren't they?
Absolutely. UCSB, Richie, shooting nearly 40% from the floor, which is important because in conference play this year, when Irvine is 8-0, they've held their opponents to under 34% shooting. Demakopoulos is fouled. 2 fouls in a row quickly there on Sam Beeler.
I tell you, both these teams do a really good job of getting the ball inside. And talk about UC Irvine, it's clear their post players are taught to use your opposite hand and use the slide dribble moving into the paint. Get a little hook shot that way. You might get a drop step afterwards, or you can spin back, have a little spin move. I tell you, I've watched some of UC Irvine's practices, and Ryan Battertelli, assistant coach, does a fine job with those post players inside. They work and work and work. He is really good at producing these post players.
And Richie, to continue that point, Mamadou Njai gets a lot of hype because of his size and obviously his effectiveness down low, and that kind of overshadows this guy, Giannis Demakopoulos. He's coming off a game when he had 13 points, his season high, and 6 blocks against Northridge. And tonight, 8 points, 2 rebounds off the bench. He's a very effective center for the Anteaters.
And imagine how much more he would do. What kind of more damage would he do if there wasn't a Mamadou Njai on this team?
Njai with foul trouble. Demakopoulos getting a lot of PT. Green is bumped and he'll go to the line. Demakopoulos caught an elbow to the chin and he is down.
He's down in pain. I think he's going to be okay. But you saw what John Green did. That's a senior move right there. He shot faked, to get his defender in the air. I believe it was Demacopoulos. Then he took a dribble, did another shot fake, and that's how he drew the foul. It's not always the first effort. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 efforts to get to the foul line or to get an opportunity to score.
Brandon Smith called for his second personal foul. John Green back to the line, a chance to tie and give UCSB another lead. Green, a 66% free throw shooter on the year. Just 1 for 3 tonight. He struggled shooting as well, 1 for 7 from the floor.
Saw it there on John Green's first free throw, and take this if you're a basketball player. Do not back up and leave that line if the ball has not hit the rim or gone through the net. As soon as you start backing up, seems it takes a little rotation off your basketball and you miss the free throw.
All knotted up at 42. Eric Rothman, Richie Schuler here with you. Final game of the day on a action-packed college basketball Saturday. Jaron Martin missing the lay-in. Demacopoulos fighting for the board. Basketball stays with UC Irvine.
You saw the way Martin took the ball to the basket, number 0, and tried to finish it with his left hand. He does a really good job attacking the gaps in the zone. And talk about a career game for him a couple weeks ago against Cal State Fullerton. Came off the bench, 22 points in 22 minutes, hit a career-high 6 three-pointers and a career-high 6 rebounds. But you see at 5'10", he's able to get into the gaps and get to the cup.
Before that ball could be inbounded, Mitch Brewy called for the personal foul, and Brewy continuing to fight down low for positioning with Demacopoulos.
And how much physical contact have we had with the post players today? Look at the movement. Ball goes inside, and guys are cutting right off him, isolating him in the post.
Good double team as Green came over on the help side. Brewy the lay-in in transition for UCSB, and they reclaim the lead.
Brewy gets the layup and the 2 points, but Gabe Vincent's dump-off pass to him was right on point. He put that ball in a silver platter on the delivery.
Demacopoulos continuing to call for it, and again, Green forcing the turnover. Back-to-back steals for UCSB. The 3 not there for Green. Offensive rebound. TJ Taylor hits it.
We've seen 2 possessions in a row where Santa Barbara has scored without Irvine getting set into their defense. That's the key for Santa Barbara. Push the ball. Don't allow them to get set in their half-court defense where they're really good, and try to attack, attack, attack.
Allowing UCSB to take a 4-point lead. 11-10 to go here in the second half. Eric Rothman, Richie Schuler with you, and the big man, Richie Mamadou Njai, back in with those 3 fouls.
Well, if you remember in the first half, UC Irvine went over 8 minutes without a score. Now they're at 4.5 minutes here in the second half without a score, and I think the biggest difference is ball control. They've had 14 turnovers, and Santa Barbara has converted that into 14 points.
And conversely, UCSB doing a great job holding on to the basketball. Only 6 turnovers for them. Njai getting his own offensive rebound and a foul on the floor against the Gauchos.
Good move right here. Look at that up and under play. Gets his own offensive rebound and takes it right back up. That's an impressive move. Up, fake up, get the defense. What just goes to show you, even though UC Santa Barbara has struggled to start conference play at 2-4, tied for 6th in the league when they're preseason ranked number 2, they're a championship caliber team. Off to a slow start in conference play, but this is a team that can contend. And they have all guys clicking on cylinders like they do now.
And so Rob Rourke, the referee, coming over to tell us they did not have a conclusive look at it to call it a flagrant 1. So not enough evidence for the refereeing crew here as UCSB hanging on to a 6-point lead. 8:15 to go in the second half.
It's a good job by the officials. Took the time to review it, took the emotion out of it, and made the best decision on the information they had.
Alex Hart blocked by Alex Young underneath. Nelson drains the three.
Seems like anytime they need a big basket, they go to either Alex Young or Luke Nelson.
Nelson now with 12 points. As Irvine in the second half, 6 for 7 from long range.
That three-pointer electrified the crowd too. If you play good offense, usually you're motivated to play better defense.
Bryson slips and falls. 2 on the shot clock for Taylor. Ball loose. And Vincent saves it for the Gauchos. Hart lifting out the 3 and Nelson the rebound.
Scrapping, both teams.
Nelson after that 3 for UC Irvine, 7 points shy of 1,000 for his career. Young is fouled, and I believe it's going to be on Sam Beeler down low. Nope, it's going to be on Alex Hart. They were both down there, and Hart called for the personal. Three-pointers, and his teammate Luke Nelson, and they go back a ways.
They do. Those guys played together for the Great Britain national team, playing the European U20 championships together in July of 2014. Alex Young's mom, number 1 there, is actually from England, where Luke Nelson is born and raised there, and he's played on unique and definitely a lot of different Euro championship teams for Great Britain. Luke Nelson actually was the player of the year in under 16 and under 18, so he has a heck of a career there in England.
Passports from all over the world for the Irvine Anteaters. You've got England, Lithuania, Greece, Senegal. A well-rounded bunch for head coach Russell Turner. As Alex Young, he's from Phoenix, but Richie just told you his mother a native of England, and Young brings Irvine within 2. Eight on the shot clock for Childress, threw it away. Nelson fouled as he was storming down the left-hand side.
These two teams are just going neck and neck. And I think Santa Barbara and Irvine they're both running 2-3 zone, but offensively, I think they're doing a really good job of attacking it. And they're starting to find the weak points that they didn't find in the first half. It makes you wonder, down the stretch, is somebody going to make a move back to man-to-man for moving the chess pieces a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if UCSB will. They've got 9 steals, as you just saw right there. But Bryson called for the foul on that last play. Nelson driving, and he got bumped. Eric Childress will pick up the personal. And that's going to send the Anteaters into the bonus, and Nelson to shoot the 1-and-1.
Well, this game could come down to a lot of free throws. Free throws down the stretch can win you games. Santa Barbara has a slight edge with 71% on the season as a team. Irvine right behind him with all that size, still able to shoot 68% from the foul line.
And how about Luke Nelson? He's 93% from the free throw line this year. And he gets both of them there. That makes him 44 of 47 for the year.
J.J. Redick numbers. Does anybody even remember who J.J. Redick is outside of being a Clipper?
Clippers fans know who he is. A timeout on the floor called by UCSB as the 2 free throws by Luke.
They got a transition 3 from Luke Nelson, and they do a really good job of trying to attack the basket rather than just pump the ball inside to the big with their back to the basket.
And on the flip side for UCSB, they want to keep this game close. They're 4-1 this season in games decided by 5 points or less. Bryson, good move to get around Njai.
He's a big-time player. The way he shielded his body from the big fella, finished with his left hand. He's a right-hander. He's not the only one scoring. I mean, Santa Barbara's bench is doing its job. 23 points The previous season high was 17.
Dunning, spin cycle and a finish for Dominique Dunning.
You talk about Dominique Dunning. He's only 6'4", but he oftentimes plays the four-man spot, particularly when Njai's in the game. 6'4", left-hander, transferred from University of New Mexico a few years back. He's done a really good job filling that void for the Anteaters.
And don't kid yourself, he can score over 2,000 career points in high school at Centennial High in Corona. He ties things up at 56 here.
Well, that tells you a little bit about Irvine. I mean, they play 10, 11 guys. They have a lot of depth and a lot of great individual players.
Vincent breaks the deadlock with a three for the Gauchos.
Such a pure three-point shooter. Coach Bob Williams had told me last year as a freshman, he didn't feel like Vincent had any weakness and thought he was the most productive freshman he'd ever had. Certainly the future of this program.
Njai calling for it. Good defense by Beeler.
But you talk about the depth of UC Irvine, and a lot of great individual players, but they sacrifice for the betterment of the team. They essentially have 10 starters in this conference on one team that are willing to sacrifice their numbers in order to try to build a championship program.
Good feed by Bryson as Beeler knocked to the ground, and he'll go to the line.
That's the name of the game, trying to move the ball around and try to get Mamadou to just take a step towards you. See that? Mamadou took one little step towards the top of the key where Bryson was, or towards the middle of the paint rather, and he was able to dump it right down inside to Beeler. If you can get Mamadou to just flinch, you can dump it down inside to somebody else and give them an opportunity to score.
And how about the patience, Richie, of UCSB on the offensive end to not force shots against the zone, which is easy to do when you're given that much room to operate.
But what a lot of teams do is they just chuck three-pointers against the zone. They don't want to attack it. You have to attack the gaps. You have to hit the short corners. You have to hit the high posts. And you have to try to get the big man inside. It doesn't have to be Mamadou Njai. It could be any big man. Try to get him to flinch when you have the ball at the high post. Try to attack him. Get him to come at you a moment and then dump it down to an open player for a dunk or layup.
Beeler missed them both, and now Santa Barbara just 3 for 9 from the free throw line.
Uncharacteristic of a team that shoots over 70%. A lot of movement here, trying to get Martin the three-point in the corner.
Got to look at it. Green the rebound. 7 rebounds now for John Green.
Doing a really good job of taking care of the basketball. If Irvine could just try to get a deflection or two, I think they go the other way for 2.
Tip follow by Sam Beeler off the Gabe Vincent miss. And UCSB up by 5.
Well, Irvine has gone small, and that's played a difference in the defensive rebounds. It's hard to rebound against a zone anyway. If you're in a zone, you're not guarding a man, you're guarding a person, so you have to motivate yourself to go and block out the closest person by you. Leaves open rebounders a lot of time.
John Green called for the foul. Njai will go to the free throw line. 3:31 to play here in the second half.
At the right time. Clearly Santa Barbara hasn't peaked yet. I feel like they're the team that keeps improving, keeps getting better. Everybody's healthy now. That's a big part of it. You have that big trio healthy, that's going to make a big difference down the stretch of conference season. Trust me, Coach Bob Williams and his staff, they know what they're doing. They've had a lot of success in Gaucho land.
Mamadou Njai has been held without a point since the first 30 seconds of the second half, and he continues to be held without a point since that time as he misses the free throw. He's a 62% free throw shooter on the year, and a foul on the rebound will send Sam Beeler to the line for the Gauchos.
Well, you see Mamadou, he shortchanged it there. He didn't really have a great follow-through. 62% is pretty good for a guy with his size and stature. Got to think the geometry of that is you're almost shooting straight forward. It's hard to put an arc on the basketball. In your hand, have you ever shook his hand before?
I was afraid for my own hand.
I mean, he is the kindest young man. Such a lovely, spirited, charismatic guy, but he has the most enormous hands. Got to be hard to really get a great flow on that basketball as you try to put some backspin on it.
3 minutes, 24 seconds to go here in the second half. UCSB up by 7. Best can't hit the turnaround, and the Gauchos trying to add to their current 7-0 run.
That's the shot that they wanted. They're getting some good looks. They're not converting. Where Irvine's had a lot of success in the second half has been behind the three-pointer, and they've shot pretty well from the foul line as well.
Good head fake by Vincent. And here comes Nelson. He's going to do it himself with the left-handed lay-in.
That's what they need to do. Push, push, push. Try to get that layup. If not, try to gather the foul. And Santa Barbara, they're in control, but it's way too early for them to stop attacking.
Nelson now with 16 points on 6 of 11 shooting. Vincent left alone in the near corner for 3.
That silences the crowd. And I was here for UC Irvine 2 years ago. They lost to Hawaii in a thriller overtime game on homecoming. Fans are hungry for a big victory tonight.
Wright is fouled. Gabe Vincent, after that three-pointer for Santa Barbara, has 14 points. Sam Beeler, the foul for the Gauchos. That's his 4th for the big man.
Where UC Irvine does such a good job of getting the ball inside. I mean, they have some extremely good post players. They have a lot of depth there. I feel like UC Santa Barbara, though, is the perfect team to go up against that 2-3 zone because they have so many guys that can attack off the bounce. They have guys that can penetrate, and they have guys that are able to drive to the basket. I think they do a fine job. I think they have a plethora of players that can beat you off the dribble. That's difficult for teams that run a 2-3 zone.
And now Beeler has to come out, so that big body at 6'10" for UC Santa Barbara is replaced by Mitch Brewy, a couple inches shorter than Beeler. We'll see if Brewy can withstand the 7'6" Mamadou Njai. Under 2 minutes to play in regulation.
Santa Barbara now is able to take some time off the clock.
Five on the shot clock now for Childress. Stripped going up, and UCSB will have 1 second on the shot clock for this inbound.
It's catch and shoot here. Normally I'd say try to get into a big and go right up, but you have the big fella down inside there. No time to shot fake. Likely going to be an outside shot.
Vincent, fadeaway 3, nearly banked it in, but an offensive rebound by Childress.
That's rubbing salt in the wound right now. All of Irvine struggles, and then they get an offensive rebound. It can take another 30 seconds off. It's time they start pushing up and pressing up and try to force a turnover and get some deflections.
Bryson all alone on the baseline for the two-hand slam.
Irvine's just going to have to go down and score in a hurry. They have timeouts to use if needed.
A minute to play in regulation. Dunning fouled on the floor, and he will go to the free throw line for 2 free throws, though, as Irvine moves into the double bonus.
Well, this is what Irvine wants. They want to score with the clock being stopped. Now you have to capitalize on these free throws. This gives you an opportunity to set up a press, try to force a turnover that way, try to make it difficult for Santa Barbara to get the ball up the floor or even get it in bounds. Don't know how much man-to-man press UC Irvine has done throughout the season, but I don't think it's much. So it's certainly a territory that they're not used to playing.
Dunning, just a 53% free throw shooter on the year. Missed the back end there. It's going to stay with Irvine, off the hands of Mitch Brewy.
That's a good break for UC Irvine. Again, now they're playing offense, defense. They like to have Mamadou Njai in there for offensive purposes, Jaron Martin as well. So you have a three-point shooter in there, and you have a dominant big man that can score inside.
Nelson, quick trigger on the three, blocked by Childress. And again, Irvine keeps the basketball.
Luke Nelson thought he was fouled in that three-pointer, but he shot faked. Defense didn't bite on it. I thought he should have just gone straight up right away.
And referee Phil White made the call that it was Irvine basketball out of bounds. However, as soon as he made it, he called for the replay. So he's going to go over and check it out with the rest of his crew, Andy Cohn and Rob. The call on the floor is going to stay with Irvine.
Okay, they must have seen some different angle. Well, this angle right here might show you otherwise. Could it be Mitch Brewery that it went off of? It looks like it went off Mamadou, but nevertheless, Irvine ball.
Nelson hits the heel. And here comes Vincent, swatted by Nelson. Ball loose, picked up by Childress, and a foul on Irvine.
Was that a block by Nelson? Here's the fast break. Gabe Vincent goes up, and Luke Nelson looks like he got a piece of the basketball. How about the hustle play from the young man from England?
A foul on Irvine, however. It's going to send Eric Childress to the free throw line.
UC Santa Barbara is in complete control of this basketball game. Here's the play. Luke Nelson goes up, and it looks like he not only got a piece of the basketball, he might have got a piece of the arm or the hand of Gabe Vincent. Nevertheless, good hustle by Luke Nelson going down the floor, and a good, strong attempt by Gabe Vincent.
Childress, 10 total points in this ball game, hits the front end. 43.7 seconds as UCSB continuing to pad their lead.
Well, the only thing that UC Irvine's had some success of here in the last couple of minutes has been transition. If I'm UC Santa Barbara in complete control of this basketball game, I'm ensuring I'm down the floor. Well, the clock's going to stop. So now they don't have an opportunity to fast break. Santa Barbara will have a set defense with a 10-point lead against a team that is struggling to score in the half court.
Plenty of looks here in the last 20 seconds. He just hasn't been able to hit a bucket.
Well, yeah, I think he hesitated on one. I think he should have taken it straight up instead of shot faking. But good defense by Santa Barbara. Just when you thought they were going to lay back in their defense, they put the pressure on and force Irvine into taking a timeout.
Still 43.7 seconds to go.
Everybody else, 3 through basically 7 of the 9-team conference is all jumbled up together. UC Santa Barbara's in that jumble, but it gives them a lot of confidence going in to approaching the second half of the conference season.
Irvine looking for quick buckets. Jaron Martin missing the three. Rebound by Bryson and a whistle on the Anteaters. And a technical foul on Alex Young, delay of game. He threw the basketball up in frustration.
You've got to have more poise.
And now Coach Russell Turner has been ejected. Irvine head coach Russell Turner heading to the locker room as the wheels have fallen off for the Anteaters.
This team has not lost in several games. They've won 7 straight. They're undefeated in conference. When it's raining, they're having a hard time figuring out how to stay dry. And this team is starting to crumble down the stretch here. Now, the game is pretty much over. But I will say that as Coach Turner was talking to the officials about the Alex Young technical foul, I think he was upset about it. Again, Coach Russell Turner will not stop defending his players. He's always going to do that.
Irvine, a perfect 8-0 this season here at the Brent Event Center, and they have only lost 8 times in their last 52 games here at home.
What an incredible job this coaching staff has done. You've said this is likely going to be the 4th season in a row, 20-plus wins. And, you know, for a Power 5 conference team, you would think, okay, 20-plus wins, it's good. It's a good season. But in a mid-major conference, that's a great season. You have to imagine in the non-conference play, most mid-majors will play Power 5 teams, so they incur a few losses that way. The program that Coach Russell Turner has built here has been tremendous in the last few years.
See Alex Young on the bench. picking up the personal, followed by the technical. He's been disqualified with his 5th foul. Bryson at the free throw line for UCSB, shooting the technical free throws. Again, a technical assessed not only to Young, but to Coach Russell Turner as he was ejected from the ball game. Rob Rourke, the referee, who called the technical on both.
UC Santa Barbara, unless a miracle occurs, is coming out of here with the win. Nothing new for Coach Bob Williams. Now, they haven't won here in 4 years, but this is a guy that has always had his program playing consistent. He's the all-time leader in coaching victories at UC Santa Barbara. Again, we talked about his national championship in the Division II days. He's had a tremendous run here at UC Santa Barbara. He's going to come out of here with the biggest win of the season.
And so Coach Turner ejected after the first technical, so it's a flagrant technical on Coach Turner. And we might be here all night with Bryson shooting technical free throws. He's up to number 5 now.
Bryson looks like a guy at the park practicing his free throws. When you're young, you're saying, hey, I'm not going to stop shooting free throws until I make X amount. And that's what he's doing right now.
And so Max Kupchak checking back in for what will be the 6th and final free throw for Bryson as he's padding his stats up to 17 points now.
Yes, he is.
Got all 6 of them. Bryson, 18 points, 6 in the last 30 seconds, but the clock was stopped. All technical free throws, and because it was a flagrant technical on Coach Turner, not only was it 6 free throws for the Gauchos, UCSB gets the ball back.
Santa Barbara has had a 6-point possession. A 3-pointer would give him a 9-point possession here.
Childress trying to milk as much off the clock as he can. UCSB looking to move to 9-11 on the season, 3-4 in conference. UC Irvine will fall to 17-6 overall, 6-1 in conference, and picking up their first home loss of the season. A shot clock violation on UCSB for the final 4.8 seconds of the game. And Richie, how about this win by the Gauchos?
Gotta love it for Coach Bob Williams. It's his 297th career win at UC Santa Barbara. He's trying to become the 3rd coach in Big West history to hit 300.